The streetcar, also known as a tram, trolley, or tramcar, is an important means of public transportation using electrical power, so they hold an advantage over other more widespread public transport solutions. The first vehicle like this was the horse-drawn tram, which appeared in the United Kingdom back in 1807, yet the actual streetcars were born with New York's 4th Avenue line in 1832. Back in the time, the streetcar's main role was plain transportation, but with the evolution of technology and general public transport, nowadays streetcars have a more touristic function to them, as they operate as mobile restaurants, libraries, nurseries, offering unique experiences by themselves. Let's take a look at the top 10 streetcar rides available in the world today. Tram 96 in Melbourne, Australia. With almost 40,000 passengers every day, Tram 96 is one of the busiest and most important routes in Melbourne, Australia, connecting the most crucial parts of the city. The line was opened in 1887 and it functioned continuously except between the years 1940 and 1955, when the line was being extended and buses were preferred instead. While visiting Melbourne, tourists taking Tram 96 will be able to admire St Kilda, which was once the favoured suburb of the Melbourne's elite. Every year, Tram 96's route is slightly altered by important events in the city, such as the Australian Formula 1 Grand Prix or the St Kilda Festival. The number 2 tram in Budapest, Hungary. Budapest's No. 2 tram is a scenic route running right along the Danube River past picturesque city landmarks, among which Pest, the Buda Castle and the Parliament Building are the most impressive. Operating since 1866, the tram line network is Budapest's second largest public transport element, besides its bus lines, and one of the largest in the world with a total route length of 156.85 kilometers. Tram 68 in Berlin, Germany. Berlin's number 68 streetcar, going from Kopnik S-Bahn to the Altschmachwitz village on the outskirts of the capital city, is considered one of the greatest tram routes in the world. The village of Altschmachwitz offers a great touch of local flavor, and with Tram 68 running up until late in the night, there's no excuse not to visit the picturesque village. While during the 1960s, West Berlin's tram system was shut down, leaving only 2 lines operational today in the western part, overall Berlin has one of the largest tram networks in the world right now, with over 30 lines in use. The number 2 tram in Amsterdam, Netherlands. Out of Amsterdam's 16 total tram lines, the number 2 line is the most appreciated one, since it passes by some of the most important landmarks of the city, including the De Nieuwe Kerk, Begijnhof, Bloemenmarkt, the Royal Palace, Rijksmuseum, Van Gogh Museum and Vondelpark. The public tram infrastructure in Amsterdam is well thought out, with each line having its own separate track to ensure better flow of traffic, and trams running day in and day out from 6 a.m. to past midnight, with 5 to 10 services per hour, so no much waiting in between. The number 28 tram in Lisbon, Portugal. In operation since 1873, the Lisbon streetcar network consists nowadays of only 5 lines. The number 28 operates from east to west through the districts of Baeza, Bairro Alto and Alfama, tying together Martin Moniz with Chiado and Campo de Aurique. The vintage cars of the number 28 tram in Lisbon will take you through narrow cobblestone streets past churches, markets, and restaurants, leaving you in the Graça neighborhood, from where you can easily reach Castelo de São Jorge for an astonishing panoramic view of the city. The Hong Kong trams. The Hong Kong trams are the earliest forms of public transport implemented in the city and the only fully double-decker trams in the world, giving a different tone to the character of the city. The longest route takes 80 minutes and starts in Shau Kei Wan and will leave you at the Kennedy Town after a change at the Western Market. Streetcar F in San Francisco, California. San Francisco's iconic F line is something you don't want to miss if you ever set foot in the city. Running from Castro to Fisherman's Wharf, all the way through downtown, the F line with its vintage streetcars is one amazing ride. The trams are brought from all over the world, with antique streamliners and exquisite designed European cars, making for a wonderful experience. The St. Charles streetcar in New Orleans, USA. Partly destroyed by Hurricane Katrina and brought back in service afterwards, the St. Charles streetcar in New Orleans, United States is the heart of the city, with its cars running through the Central Business District, the Garden District, Uptown and the ever-popular French Quarter. Built back in 1835 and designated as Route 12, the St. Charles Line is the oldest continuously operating streetcar line in the world. The busy route is used by local commuters and tourists alike, and it runs 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The George Benson Waterfront Streetcar in Seattle, USA. Now a thing of the past, the George Benson Waterfront Streetcar in Seattle, United States, was a tram line that ran from 1941 to 2005, when it was shut down to make room for the Olympic Sculpture Park of the Seattle Art Museum. Several of its stations remained in place, but due to the massive renovations that took place in the area, the streetcar will more than sure remain closed. The line had a length of 1.6 miles and used cars imported from Melbourne, designed from white ash woodwork and mahogany from Tasmania. When it was discontinued, something more modern took its place, and that was the Metro bus Route 99 running on First Avenue. The 501 Queen streetcar in Toronto, Canada. Stretching on a total of 24.8 kilometers, from Long Branch Loop, through Lakeshore Boulevard and onto Queen Street, the 501 Queen streetcar route in Toronto, Canada, is one of the longest tram lines in North America. It was founded in the middle of the 19th century and still runs today, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The route has two branches, one from Neville Park to Humber Loop through the Queensway and the other one going all the way to Long Branch.